Hello, everybody. My name is Alvaro. I work on DevPrime engineering team, and today I'm here to speak about some very important subjects for all of us, which are developers. And we got customers. These customers got their informations, and these informations got a context because you're if you're running a software as a platform, if you're running a software as a service, you have each customer got its own context, its own informations. So you need to take care of it in all your software, in all your microservice. We're not talking about microservice. We're talking about this highlight purple zone here, where 95 of modern software development is. We're talking about the software responsible for your business logic, your business intelligence. This microservice responds to bounded context, each one with one business intelligence and with one business responsibility. So we got divided bounded context with business rules, with business intelligence, and this is my platform, this is my software as a service. And I'm offering to many different customers for many different situations. So these customers need to use this platform, and they have a special context with only informations. I can't allow for customer B to have access to customer A data. It's not allowed here. So we need to separate context for each customer. We need to keep them separated, and we need to have these concerns, special concern in all of our applications. But if you're using DevPrime, I think things can be easier for us. Let's check it out, what I'm talking about. I brought to you now this presentation, two microservices running. The first one is customer. I'm about to show you the code now. Just customer. It's a DevPrime microservice, so it's a production-ready microservice. And this is a DevPrime microservice. There's a lot of concerns about architecture that are very important to point here. It's an hexagonal architecture, so we got adapters, which they are technologies in a separated context, and we got each one of these technologies on a special adapter. So web requests for endpoint exposure, stream adapter to communicate with streaming, Kafka, RabbitMQ, and async communication in general. State adapter to persist and to load states from the database. Service adapter to make API calls, no matter if it was a web request or we're talking about a gRPC. So call to external APIs. Security to integrate with authentication and authorization. So many technological responsibilities, they are all together here in adapters. And our domain logic, it's here. It's totally decoupled from technology. So every DevPrime application got this same structure. So if you have someone who worked on a DevPrime project, this one can just change to a different squad and work the same way because all DevPrime applications got the same structure. And they have also some predictable behaviors and also smart behaviors. Okay, we run this. We're about to run this microservice. It's a you know that's a DevPrime microservice, and we got some features, some smart behaviors that are very nice to show. Like for example, this one here, tenancy. I'm on DevPrime app, and I want to allow my software to run with a tenant. So I am running a software as a service platform. I got a security key that to use. And here comes the second microservice, which is SaaS enablement service. So this is our SaaS, SaaS enablement service. It is responsible to manage our tenants and separate context of our customers' informations. So here we got our customer microservice. It's running, and especially it's running on the strategy database. I want to show you what is the difference of this. What is the difference between these strategies? In this case, each one tenant got its own database. So let me choose database to show you. Okay. So here we're running our microservice. It's our customer microservice, and it aims to uh, get customers. So we're bringing new customers to the platform, and we have different companies that are adding customers here in the platform. So each one of the companies got a single tenancy, a single tenant, so a single token, a single number, which identify this is the company A or is this company B. In this case, we're talking about company one and company two. So company one and company two, they are uh, adding customers. So they are getting customers and they are adding on the platform. So we got some web requests coming to the reaching the API. So these web requests are reaching the API, the customer API, and the customer API will analyze if there is a valid tenant for it. If we're talking about a customer with we got employees doing these web requests, and these employees belongs to company. So if I am employer from the company one, I need to be using the company one tenant. If I'm an employee from the company two, so I need to be using the tenant from the company two. So this is the way things will be. So we got some employees with some credentials to a token, to a tenant, in especially for the company one, and the another guy is just with credentials for the company too. So we don't separate credentials, so we don't separate context. Our information is divided by strategy. In this case, we're running our tenancy on a strategy database. Strategy database says that I got a different database for each tenant. I'm going to show you in practice. Right now, I am using. I'm going to make a post on the API, and I'm gonna make some data input. I am in this case, I will be using some tenants. This is a tenant from the company one, and we can show you API. So I got a tenant. This is from company one, okay? So it's credential for company one. And I got an employee, also got credentials. We go to users. And this is an employee for company one. So we are using credentials for company one and a user from company one. And this user will be trying to input a new customer, and it's called Thomas Edison. Let's place these credentials on our web request helper. So the first key will be DevPrime tenant ID with this value. We're running our microservice. Okay, everything's going fine. I'm going to place the second parameter. So we're using credentials for the employee from the company one. So we are an employee from company one, and we're using tenant of company one. So I'm trying to input here Louis Pasteur, maybe Thomas Edison, and I send my request. We got success here. Okay. But I would like to also read track my information through the log because DevPrime offers us a special log made with no extra effort. So you don't need to develop this log. You just have to create a new DevPrime application, and all DevPrime applications got the same structure log because they all got the same predictable behaviors. Here, we are receiving a web request on the ending point. Our request comes across all the internal layers. There's a tenant initialized here. Very special to notice that there's a tenant initialized here. So we can see where the tenants start to act and when the tenants complete to act. During this process, tenant makes a HTTP call to another microservice, which is running in this port. So it is talking, this is the services adapter from DevPrime application. So it's the services adapter making a HTTP web request call to the SaaS enablement microservice. So it's communicating to the SaaS enablement. So there's a microservice with intelligence, and the tenancy strategy is communicating to this microservice with the enablement. So our request comes okay. So we just received success for our operation. So Thomas Edison is now on our database. And what kind of database are you using here? As I show you, we're using the database structure is on our initialization here. So we're using a tenancy database strategy. So each one of tenants got its own database. Let's go to the database, refresh. Okay, we got a company one database here, brand new one. Okay, we got some documents. Is there some Thomas Edison in there? Okay, we got him. He's here. Thomas Edison's here. So we just input, we just made an input of this through the post API. And now we're gonna place different credentials and see what's happening if I try. If I am, let's suppose that I'm an employee from the company one and I'm using the tenant of the company two. Let's see what's gonna happen in this situation. So in this case, I'm using the tenant of company two. So let's change here. And I am employee of company one. In this case, I just don't need to change the value. So in this case, I'm going to try to place myself here. Oh, I cannot do that. Tenant is not valid for this type. So I got a difference of type also here because I'm trying to use a different token. I'm trying to use a different tenant, and it's not allowed. Okay, let's place okay, let's place the company two credential, and we are employees of company two. So same company with the proper employee. Is the company tenant, and this is the proper employee. In this case, we are about to insert Nikola Tesla. the right credentials, he's going to the company 2. Voila, we got success here in the API. And let's take a look on our database. Wow, we're running on the company 2 database now. So it depends on what kind of, what is your tenant. You go, oh, here comes Nikola Tesla. Depends on what is your tenant. You go to the either the database 1, company 1, or database company 2. So which decides if you're going to one database or another is based on, the decision is based on your tenant. So it's based on these credentials. We're talking about a database strategy, as I said. So each one of the different tenants will be in a separate database. But let's suppose that I want to separate them by schema. So I want to share the same database, but I want to keep them separated by schema. So in the same database, but with different schemas. Let me change my behavior of my microservice, but I want to make sure that you pay really attention on that, because look, I'm gonna change the way I place my informations on the database. Okay, I'm talking about that I'm about to change the way I separate context of my customers in my SaaS platform. So in my SaaS platform, I am telling you that I will change the way I save my context. Okay, I will not save it in the database for each tenant anymore. No way. Now we got a schema for each one. So we got a schema, and they will share the same database, but they will be placed in different schemas. Let's see what is this in practice. We're running our customer. And let's change the credentials for it. First of all, I am sending employee from the company 1. Company 2. Employee of company 2. We're running on schemas, okay. Let's suppose that I try to make the last input I did. I did the last input, the last post in my API by using credentials from the company 2 and the employee from company 2 also. But we were using a different schema. We're using a different strategy. We are using databases. And now our tenancy strategy is called schema. So we got a different schema. We got a different strategy. We got a different strategy here. So behaves will be a little bit different. And I cannot use the same credentials. So let's see what's happening if I try to use the same credentials from the last strategy. I'm gonna place that. Okay, it's not a valid for this type. Okay, because I'm trying to use tenants from the database to a schema. Now I'm schema, I need to use special tenants for that. So when I create my tenants on the platform, I need to define what kind of tenants they will be. So now I'm using schema tenants for the company 1 address. And now I am the proper employee for that. Let's check it out, these informations before we post on API. So let's make a query to check what kind of credential is that. Tenant goes here. This is a tenant for schema for company one. Nice, real nice. And this is for it belongs to the company one, so you need to be a company one employee. Again, checking. Okay, we got employee from company one. So this employee got the rights to have this tenant. So, and we just place it on the post, and let's make a post. Okay. Now we got success. Okay, we got success. And we are using a schema strategy, which means that if we go to our database, we got the same database customer here. We got some collections. Okay. Let's view documents and see what we got inside. This is the input data. This is the input customer I sent. Okay, it's perfect, and it's on a special schema. So I can place each one of my tenants, each one of all the objects I need to create will be placed on under the same schema. So each one of the tenants we have a special schema, and all objects from this customer will be under its schema. So the data will be separated, and we don't need to change nothing in our application. We just change some configs. We just change some configs, and we change the way application saves data in the database. And let's try another post on this API with a different schema. In this case, I'll be using someone from the company too. Let's go to the company two, and it's a user from the employee from company two. I am going to send Yuri Gagarin. We got success. Okay, so we sent the proper credential with the proper employee. And let's refresh our database. We got a brand new collection here. So we got our data separated by schemas. Here it's Yuri Gagarin, and here it's Marie Curie. So they are placed in separated schemas. And if I open my application, if I go into DevPrime application itself and try to check the special code responsible to save these informations on the database, there is no special code telling that it's a different name. Okay, so if you define customer, it will be customer. If you define order, it will be order. So there is no these kind of things in your code. You don't see that. They are totally seamless for you, even when you just, for example, let's map. So there is no such information on the fields. There is no such information on collections. So we're talking about this connection, this collection, this collection here. We're talking about this collection here. We are not prefixing nothing, but DevPrime knows that needs to use a prefix. Automatically, it happens seamless to your application, so you don't need to get to worry about it. Just enable the proper config on your app settings, and everything will be fine. Just say it's a schema, and it will be available for you in every DevPrime microservice. Okay, now we are about to show a little bit more specific because here we are sharing the database. Okay, first sample, uh, let's back a little bit. Let's get back to the first model. First strategy was database, so each one of tenants had its own database. The second strategy was schema. So database, we got a database for each tenant. Schema, we got special schemas for separate schemas for separate tenants, but they share the same database. And we got now shared. Shared is they share the same collection, they share the same database. They only have a special field to separate one each other. So let's place this field. Actually, just share. When you create a microservice with a DP init, it's a DP init is a special comment from the stack, from the command line interface. Actually, it's a very useful command from the command line interface. It's responsible to accelerate some steps, to speed up some steps of implementation. So if you want to have an extra field for tenants in your applications, like this one here, they got a special interface which enforce that it needs to have a tenant ID. So it enforces this field. And if you want to have it on your DP init process, analyzing process, just change these tenants to enable, true, and type shared. And then you run DP init. So you're going to have your all your state models with a special constraints for guarantee that you have a tenant. So a tip. Now we are running a model called shared. This model will be sharing the database and the collections on each other. Run the microservice. If you haven't downloaded yet DevPrime, go now to devprime.io. Download DevPrime, try to reproduce the steps I'm doing here, and give us some feedbacks. They will be very appreciated. Now we're running our microservice again, and it has where is the tenant? Tenants shared. Here is the tenant. So it is on the shared strategy. So contexts are shared sharing the same database, sharing the same collection, but they are in the different records. What you need to do here is just let's place Ada Lovelace. Let's do that with this employee. This employee in this company. The company one. Let's place. Okay, it was okay. Let's go to the database, share database, refresh. We got a customer database and we got customer collection. If we view documents, we got our tenant is coming here. So here it's Ada Lovelace. And now we're replacing Alan Turing with credentials from the company too, with employee from the company too. Credentials. credentials. Okay. Uh, Now we have in our shared database customer, and one register for the tenant 122F1. Now let's place another register, but for the company too. So in this case, they are sharing the same database and they are sharing the same collections. So we just have one logical difference, this field, because this is the tenant for the company two, and this is the tenant for the company one. So they are separated by context also. And the only thing you need to place is the extra field. And DevPrime takes care about all the process the same way he did in the database and schema. So we got these three strategies, and they can be shifted from the simple config changing or just including a field in case if you want to share the same collections. So we're talking about a distributed system, right? So we're talking about applications that communicate through events. We're talking about event-driven architecture here. So our tenants are not only coming from requests, they are also coming from streams. And now, just the last thing you see, I at least in this video, okay, the last thing you see, at least on this video, is how to control our tenancy, how to control our context based on the string events. So string events also come with credentials, and let's see them. I'm going to place an event on there's another application which are the same actually, but with a special adaptation to receive events. Okay, open it. Here you are. This is it's a simple tenancy. Let's just see what kind of tenancy it's running here. Let's see. Okay, it's running on shared. Okay, it's running on shared. Let's just make some events coming to this application, because this application is receiving events. This is the most important difference between this application and the last ones. In this case, we'll be receiving events, customer created event. So I will be placing directly from on the RabbitMQ. I will be placing direct on RabbitMQ some events, and these events got credentials, and it will be judging credentials based on the tenancy and in the Saas enablement. Just let play it. I think there's events on the queue. No, cool. So let's run it. I'm gonna take some credentials from the last tests. So we'll be placing. We got Ada Lovelace and Alan Turing, and we'll be placing Alvaro Valley. We got an event. Okay. It's my event, it's me. And I want to change my tenants also to the right ones. So I'm employee from company two using tenant from company two. Let's pick the shared. Here we got this tenant for this employee. I'm Alvaro Valley. So it's me. I need to be on the database in the end. And we're placing directly into the RabbitMQ. Let's publish our event. Oops, something wrong here. Public exception. What is it? Okay, there's no valid field. I think just wait a minute. I'm telling my event. Customer events. Okay. What's going on in application? Valid fields. Validate fields. ID. Email needs to be here. Push this. Try again. There's a business logic. It is just validating some of my fields. So I need to pass the right event. No, it's okay. Okay, so I send the proper event now. I had a bad format in my event, so the event has been broken in my logic. Now I am reading proper event. So application receive an event here on the stream adapter. Here comes the event, so it go across all entire layers, and it goes to the database. Actually, it starts the we can see the same tenancy process here. So we start the tenancy at the top, we initialize the tenancy here, and we complete the tenancy here. So we are running on the shared tenant. So let's take a look if my events. So if my Alvaro Valley, it's on the database. Okay, it's me. It's Alvaro Valley. Here am I, and I'm using tenants. So I am on the way of interact with the HTTP web requests and stream events on the same way. I'm doing the same control. Applications are running credentials for tenants in the web requests, but also in stream events. So stream events that reach your application will be carrying tenants. and these tenants need to be handled also async. People usually do a lot of effort to implement tenants on the web requests, but the same problem happens in stream events. So stop sharing. Okay, and if you haven't downloaded yet DevPrime from the website devprime.io, I highly recommend you to download it, do your tests, and give us the feedbacks because it will be very appreciated. DevPrime is a platform to accelerate developers' daily routines and improve your time to marketing. So it also helps operation teams to have a better root cause analysis because it got a faster debug. In this debug, it's associated with smart behaviors that all DevPrime applications got smart behaviors. And when I say that all DevPrime applications got smart behaviors, because all DevPrime applications are production-ready microservices. So welcome to this world. Well, get aboard, download DevPrime. If you haven't seen another videos from this channel, also go deep inside, navigate, discover what DevPrime is. Okay? See you next time.